In this workout, we're going to focus on your whole body connection. So one of the biggest mistakes we often make is we think about what our arms are doing and we think about what our legs are doing, but we rarely often think about what they're doing together. And I've used this analogy before. If you're a golfer, or I could use baseball as well, but I'll use golf. If you want to hit a 300-yard drive, you're not going to just do it with the arms. And you're not going to do it with just your legs. That makes even less sense. It's really the whole body working together that generates the power to hit, again, a drive 300 plus yards. So it's the stability through the legs, anchoring, it's the torsion, the torque force through the core, it's the coordination as the arms come into the swing, and all that put together is what generates the maximum amount of power. No difference in swimming. If you're just using your arms and you're just kicking behind you, you're missing all the coordination force that you could be generating, synchronizing the kick with the rotation, with the arm pull to really drive the power through the stroke. And you'll see the best swimmers really have good connection, and those that are a little bit slower haven't quite made that connection yet. So I'm going to look at my stroke here, just showing you what we're looking for. Then we'll pick apart a couple different swimmer strokes, looking at whether that connection is kind of there or not, or at what degree it's there. And then we will look at one of the best swimmers in the world and see how she connects her body. And again, there's no one way. I will say overall, everyone's timing in terms of how the kick timing in relation to the arms is pretty good. There is a particular sequence that we'll look at, but being able to do that purposefully and then actually change the force applications as you coordinate everything, that's when that connection really happens. So it's not just about the kick to arm pull timing, it's making that connection to now actually drive power. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna look at is the kick, and then we'll work our way up. So as you see as I'm swimming here, there's two distinct stronger beat kicks. So bam on the far side, bam on the near side. Hopefully you can pick those out. I actually grabbed some bubbles on those stronger beats as I'm setting up just above the surface. So when you see me dragging those bubbles down there, that would be the stronger beat kick. Now, as I back it up here, now look at those stronger beat kicks and how that times with the roll. So as I'm kicking down, actually I can slow it down here a little bit. Let's scrub it. So on the near side, as you can see the kick setting up here. Nope, that'd be the easy kick. Now it's setting up. So the stronger beat, as that kick is coming down, providing that downward force on the water, the opposite reaction will be those hips rolling away or rotating a bit the other direction. So that little snap there, if you can use this downward kick as a bit of anchor to then swivel the hips a little bit, which then creates those rotational forces. And it's basically this swivel is timed right at the start of the mid pull here when the power is starting to come on to the arm pull. And that's kind of what snaps through all together. So really from this phase here, the connection from the downward kick to the hip swivel to the arm pulling through. So that's what we're trying to get all connected, at least on one side, which you'll see in a little bit. So that's how we can really start generating a little bit more force, especially when you're swimming a slower catch-up style stroke. Once you start sprinting or doing more of a windmill stroke, it does come apart a little bit more. But this kind of allows you to maximize each force or each pull's force and maybe get a little bit more of a glide out of there as well. So looking at Rebecca here, a couple swimmers as I was just watching the videos. As I was mentioning, sometimes you think about what the arms are doing, what the legs are doing. Rebecca's a pretty steady kick, so it's great she's kicking, But as you can see, there's really no connection whatsoever to the arms. And it's just kind of a steady kick. There's no difference between a strong beat snap to, flip those hips over. It's just kind of, again, nice and steady. And again, it's doing its purpose for, well, keeping body position up a little bit and balancing the stroke. But again, we're kind of missing that extra little bit of oomph. Sam, very similar, steady kick. Again, the timing is, not bad. So if I slow it down here, on the near side, so this would be that setup of the kick, kicking down. The hips come over, but you can see they're not coming over with as much urgency or as much snap as they can. So this would be more of the example of just the steady kicker that's doing something back there, but it's really not connected to the arms. And then we have people who connect one side a little bit better than the other, which, to be honest, is probably better than just steady kick. And I'm going to show you that in a second. One of the best swimmers in the world. So Mike, his right leg is more coordinated. You can see it on the far side there, setting up, kicking a little better in time with the arm pull. The left leg struggles. Again, the timing's all right, but it's not really functional. Now, one of Mike's issues is ankle flexibility as well, so we have to work on that before we can get anything meaningful out of the kick. And then Lisa is kind of the opposite, so she's setting up the left leg a lot better. So as you can see, bam! And that tends to be her dominant breathing side. So sometimes what you're able to connect and coordinate is related to your breathing, what side you've developed to be more comfortable. Sometimes it has to do with your motor control over one leg or another. I've already talked about soccer players. Their striking leg usually has more coordination control over it, and they can fire that better. But everyone is different. And as we look at Sam, and Sam's a little bit different. Everyone you've seen so far, including myself here, is doing a 6-beat kick. So there's 6 kicks per arm cycle, so 2 arm pulls. So basically 3 kicks per side. And if I scrub back, we can just count them out. So I'll start with the strong beat. So 1... far side 2, 3, set up on the other side, 4 strong, 5, and then 6. So, but you don't necessarily need to do a 6-beat kick. Sam is a 2-beat kicker, which means she eliminates, or most of the time she eliminates those other 2 little light kicks in there and only fires the strong beat kick. A lot of distance swimmers will use this type of a strategy. So as you can see, kick, 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 kick. So only on the arm pulls. Every once in a while, again, she'll kind of work in a little flutter to up it to more like a 4-beat kick, or yeah, I'll say 4-beat kick. So again, you don't need to be blasting the legs. And sometimes if you're just trying to maintain your stroke timing and drive the power through the arms, keeping the exertion level manageable, bringing that kick down to a 2-beat kick is an effective strategy for distance swimmers, which, as you'll see here, Katie Ledecky, she's a little smaller on frame. Let me make her a little bigger. So Katie Ledecky swimming the mile, as you can see, really good connection on the far side, so the left leg. The right leg does nothing. So she is maximizing the amount of torque force on that left side. The right side, she's really strong on already in terms of the breath and the high elbow catch setup. And again, this is swimming out what a distance swimmer would look like. Connection on that far side, but just support on the close side. So again, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Some people will be able to connect to both and use both sides very effectively. Some people will only connect one side, and you can use that very effectively. Ideally, if you can become ambidextrous with it and make that whole connection purposeful, meaning you're controlling it, then you can start using it to change speed and, bring up the forces as you choose. So that's what we're going to play with today, is making that connection, adding a little bit more force through the arm pull using some of those rotational forces. So let's look at the workout. So just as we normally do, we're going to revisit some of the work that we've done in previous workouts before we get into the main set. So the warm up, you're going to jump in, swim 200, mix it up as you like, or again, don't. Then we're going to move into the stroke rate change set. That we did in previous workouts. So we're going to cut this back a little bit. You're only going to swim 250s, and this time you're going to increase your stroke rate within the 50. So you're going to start each 50 with a low stroke rate, nice and slow, and you're going to build it up as you go. So by the end of the 50, your arms are moving. Now, as you do that, your goal is not to actually swim faster. So as you increase the stroke rate, relax the pull a little bit. Now, there was some ahas like, I can only relax to a certain point and I can only increase to a certain point before I start just getting, super sloppy or really dropping my elbow to move it through. Really, if you can, do small speed change, that's really all we're looking for. It's not going to be massive difference. And you're right, there is diminishing gains in terms of the amount of speed that you can actually move your arm through the water and not end up sprinting. So still play with that. If anything, you can go farther on the relaxed side still. So 250s, and then you're going to swim 100, where every cycle you're going to swim that 100 with a slightly higher stroke rate than before. That's it. And back to the 50s, do those again, the 100, the 50s, the 100. So again, 4 cycles through, building that stroke rate as we progress through the set. Then we're on to the main set, where we're going to practice that full body connection. We're going to start with one arm drill. Now, the difference of today is the arm you're not using is going to be down. The other tricky thing for this connection of the kick is you're actually going to breathe to the arm downside. So you're going to be reaching, rolling, and breathing, as opposed to what we're used to, which is pulling and breathing towards that pulling arm. So opposite breathing. What this is going to do is, as you're reaching and rolling to take that breath, this rotation must be counteracted by that kick to bring that body back over, because this arm is out of the equation. So as you're rolling over, you're going to fire this kick to drive the hips over. Good thing I have a swivel chair. And connect the arm pull with that swivel. So that's going to be a tough one. If you need to start with the one arm drill with a snorkel, that will make it a little bit easier, because you're not going to have to roll and be as far out of balance. You could also use fins to support this. That may help as well, make that connection. So we're going to hit that drill, and then we move it into 100, where just think about firing the kick to swivel the hips to connect to that arm pull, so everything is working together. And pay attention, is one side firing better than the other? You'll pick that up on the drill when you're doing, and I forgot to mention this, one arm there, other arm on the way back. So we're just going to follow that sequence. Another set of drill followed by swim. The next drill, though, we're going to do one arm but leave that arm up. So you're going to feel like you have a little bit more balance. You're really going to have to focus on setting that kick up. And then we take it into a little longer swim, anywhere between 4 to 8 100s. If you're doing different levels, again, remember, you may be doing less distance or fewer number of sets. But this one, the odd ones, so the first one, the third one, the fifth one, depending on how many you do, the seventh one, that one you're going to progress through a little drill sequence where you're going to accumulate arm strokes on the same side. So you're going to start off with 1 and 1, which is freestyle. So 1 and 1. Then you're going to go 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And as you do that, and I'm doing a poor demonstration. As you're doing those one arms, connect the kick to it. So kick through, 1, 2, 3, and then hit the other side, and then 4, 5, and so on until you get to the end of the 100, and wherever you're at is where you're gonna end. Then you're gonna swim 100, regular freestyle, again, nice connection kick, and then back to the drill again. That's it for the main set. Hopefully by then we've made a few more brain-body connections. You can purposefully pat your head and rub your belly, as it were, and cool down, call it a day. I'll see you in the next workout.